Like always, I want to thank you guys for coming out and covering Penn State football. We truly appreciate it. The first thing I'd like to do is to thank the fans. This is one of the more special environments in all of sports, not just college football, but in all of sports. And they had a huge impact tonight. You're talking about an offense that wants to run the ball and RPO, and for them to get off schedule because they had 5 false start penalties, which I'm going to give credit to our fans for that. We're going to need that again next Saturday. So don't allow anybody to get our tickets. Let's dominate that stadium next week again with our fans, make it a real challenging environment. But I want to take a minute to thank our fans for the impact that they had in the game. You know, overall, I thought we played complimentary football. Offense, defense, and special teams all played well. We made the kicks that we needed to make. When we talked about extra points and field goals, we were able to kick them deep and not allow their kickoff return to be a factor in the game. And then when you talk about, defensively and offensively, I think the biggest thing that stood out to me in this game was third down. We were able to get off the field on defense on third down, and we were able to stay on the field. And you're talking about a team that, for the most part, led the country, I think, in third down percentage. Minnesota was leading the country in third down conversion at 66%, their offense, and we held them to 15.4% tonight, 2 of 13 on third down. And then Minnesota's defense was number 1 in the country in third down D at 21%, and tonight we were at 45%. So that was to me the story of the game. Obviously we started out a little slow on offense, and besides the big play that our defense gave up right before the half down the sideline, we played really well. We played really well. So, kind of the stats that we talk about all the time, we essentially tied the field position battle at 29 and 30. The turnover battle was also a tie. The penalty battle we won. And then the explosive play battle, we were 22% on offense, and their offense was at 14%. So we won that battle. So overall, we played well. Again, appreciate the support that we got, and I open it up to questions.
Hey, James, can you address the way that Sean bounced back after struggling a little bit early? And do you have any reaction?
You mean our offense struggled early?
Well, he had an interception as well. And I guess what I would add to that, do you have any reaction to the fans being a little bit disappointed?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I have no reaction to those types of things. As you guys know, I'm proud of Sean. And he's a battler, and he's resilient, and he's tough, and he played really well. I think if you look around the country, there's a lot of programs that would be super excited and happy about Sean Clifford being the quarterback and what he was able to do tonight against one of the better defenses in the country. I'm real proud of him, but I'm not gonna talk or get into any of those other things. But I'm proud of Sean, and I love our whole quarterback room. I'm also glad that we were able to get Drew some experience as well tonight. He's played in almost every game this year, but I'm as you guys know, I'm a supporter of Sean Clifford.
James, how big was it for Nick and Katron to be able to bounce back the way they did tonight?
When you say bounce back, what are you referencing?
Just from last week against Michigan and being able to run the football well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been impressed with those guys all year long. 2 true freshmen that I think are playing at a high level. We were able to stick with the game plan and stick with the run. I thought we had a lot of diversity in our play calling tonight, whether it was play action, pass, shots, whether it was getting the tight ends involved, getting Parker Washington involved, and then those 2 running backs. I thought the run that Katron had early on when he ran over to safety was a big-time run and got us going. And then obviously Nick was able to break one there at the end. So, we just got to keep chipping away at it. We're able to run the ball a little bit more consistently. We got to continue to build on that, and we're also protecting well. I think that's a couple things. That's our O-line, and running back's doing a good job. I think Sean's getting rid of some balls. I thought the throw that Sean made with the guy coming clean down the middle, and he knew he was going to get rocked, and he threw the deep ball to Parker Washington, I think was Parker. That was one of the better throws I've seen Sean make under duress, standing in there and delivering a ball like that. So I thought that was big time.
James, you guys played run-heavy teams back-to-back weeks. What was different this week that allowed you guys to have so much more success defensively?
Excuse me. You know, it's really as simple as we just consistently did our job tonight. We consistently did our job and held our gaps. You know, whether you're a two-gap team or a one-gap team, you know, how we're kind of built defensively is everybody's responsible for a gap, and you got to own your gap, and you can't peek and try to fall into somebody else's gap, and then against good teams, the ball finds the open gap. We were really consistent in doing that tonight, and then I think the other thing is the game plan was to say, you know, you could make the argument one of our strengths on defense is our defensive backs. So let's leave those guys on an island. Let's load the box up. And let's, you know, have the numbers in the run game, and then hopefully, you know, make it contested catches in the pass game, you know, with man-to-man coverage. They got us on a few pick plays and things like that, but for the most part, I thought we played really well-rounded defense. You know, they got a score there at the end with most of our backups in. There's a standard for whoever's on the field, and when you're in there, you got to go in and hold up to the standard. We didn't do that, so it'll be good film to learn from for some of those young guys, but overall pretty good.
Obviously, they scored right before the half, so how big was it to get those that third down stop and then have Dominique DeLuca get a piece of that punt right at the beginning of the second half?
Yeah, when you talk about the middle eight, you know, that is a really strong tendency in football. You know, when you talk about from an analytics perspective, the impact on winning. So, you know, they deferred, and we're going to get the ball in the second half. They had to score right before the half with the big third down play. So being able to get a stop to start the second half was really important. And to see a guy like Dom DeLuca, you know, he's really kind of paid his dues and worked really hard. Guy who missed, you know, basically his freshman year after winning a state championship with an injury, and he's done everything right since he's gotten in the program. To see him make that type of play was awesome. I'm proud of him.
James, right in front. Abdul making his first start. What went into that decision to get him out there early, and how do you think he played?
Yeah, you know, it was more about we've been playing some, you know, what we call our big base, you know, with three linebackers on the field. Curtis has played to the field, so allows us to move him out there. Curtis had 14 tackles tonight, which I didn't even realize that until Chris gave me the stats, which obviously is super productive. But that's what it was. We knew we were playing a running team. You know, we wanted to have three true linebackers and really three box linebackers on the field, you know, to make it difficult. We have a ton of respect for that running back. And you know, that was kind of the game plan. There's not too many teams in the country that are playing with three true linebackers on the field, but based on this game plan and this team that we were playing, it made a ton of sense.
James, how much does a performance like this tonight, a big win, 100 recruits, whiteout, TV, how much does all of that help from a program standpoint with building not only for tonight but for the future as well?
Yeah, you know, I think the first of all, we're 1-0, and we're happy to be 1-0. It was a good win. It was a great environment. There's a ton of recruits there that are going to have a huge impact, you know, on our future. If you look at our roster and you talk to players, which I know you guys have, how many of them have been at a whiteout and said, you know, I want to play in that type of environment. So, yeah, it helps from a bunch of different perspectives. I haven't looked around and saw what happened this weekend, you know, when it comes to college football and other scores and things like that. But this was a good win for us against a good opponent at home. And obviously, with a crowd and people in the crowd that are going to have a significant impact on our future. So for a lot of different reasons, it was important.
James, I know you want to enjoy this, but you did mention Ohio State with their early game today. Did you get much of a chance to watch them, and can you offer a little preliminary prognosis of them?
No, I mean, I haven't got on. Our analysts have gotten a head start on them, but no, I mean, literally the game ended like, 12 minutes ago. I haven't broken down Ohio State yet. They're obviously a really good, 31 minutes? What has it been? I'm not sure. But no, we all know that they're a good football team, and we're going to have to be ready to play, but I'd like to enjoy this for a few minutes, and then I'll get in early Sunday morning, and we'll get started on these guys.
Coach, given what we know about Sean's injury, we obviously didn't know if he would start. When did you know he would start in this game, and how impressed were you with the way he played given his injury status? Again, obviously we don't know much.
Yeah, I had a pretty good feeling like he would. He practiced on Tuesday, did the full practice, but was pretty sore afterwards. Our doctors and trainers did a great job. Sean did a great job. Once Sean knew, there was nothing structurally wrong and it was just a pain management deal, then he felt good about it and we felt good about it, and he still had his strength and his velocity. So we felt pretty confident, and so did the trainers and doctors, that he'd be able to go. But, there's also the positive in there is, we had a day where those other quarterbacks got all the reps, which there's value in that too.
Two more, we'll go Daniel and then John.
James, back here. Earlier this week, Theo Johnson said that he thought that he could add more value to the offense in the passing game. We saw him tonight with touchdown catch, 5 catches. What did you make of his performance? And for the tight end group as a whole, we really saw them involved today. What kind of emphasis was on that this week?
Yeah, he played really well. We expect that from him, and I'm happy for him. And he has that type of ability, But I would say in general, there is going to be weeks, obviously, based on game planning and matchups that you may emphasize a certain position or a certain guy. But really, a lot of times it just depends on how the defense plays out and where the ball goes. So it was a little bit of an emphasis, but it's not like we did anything different tonight. It's just how the game played out and how the defense reacted to our schemes. And Sean just went where the defense told us to go. And sometimes that's going to be the running backs, sometimes that's going to be the wideouts, and sometimes that's going to be the tight ends. But I do think when Parker Washington touches the ball a bunch, and when our tight ends touch the ball a bunch, I think we're at our best. But there's a lot of guys obviously that we want to get involved, and I think that's when we're difficult to defend. I thought we had diversity, in all the different things. Even the reverse we ran, was not an explosive play. It was a 6-yard play, but when you run those things, it gives the defense hesitation. They're not fitting the runs the same way when they're concerned about some of these different things. We moved the pocket. I thought we did a bunch of really good things, especially with the play action pass. It was a well-rounded, really well-executed game.
James, here on your left. The third quarter surge, 3 touchdowns. What stood out to you about the offense? And then additionally, how important was it to make Minnesota essentially one-dimensional, make them, I would imagine, throw the ball more than they wanted to?
Yeah, the one-dimension thing was big, getting them behind the sticks with the false start penalties from our fans, that was big. Being able to try to get up by a margin where they had to throw the ball a little bit more than they wanted to. That's not really kind of how they're built or wired. So that factored into it. But overall, I was pleased, with how we played. I think the third quarter was probably as much about explosive plays. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it just seemed like we had a bunch of explosive plays in the third quarter that led to the points and touchdowns. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.